Tune in to Talking Law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man with me, Jerome.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, good to see you, man.
Yes,
good to be
sir.
back.
Thank you, sir.
We got our fa la 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 back in the back of us, man. Hey, today, man, we got a special guest. Got musician extraordinaire, vocalist extraordinaire, writer extraordinaire. My man, Mr. George Dean.
How y'all doing?
Man,
great, man.
Man, George, I'm glad you decided to come on the show, man. We see you all the time. We hear you all the time.
See, it's about time, huh?
Man, it's about time we get to talk about it, boy.
It's an honor.
It is an honor.
Privilege to be in his presence, man.
So we need to say welcome to Facebook, because you know Facebook is we're live, and so they're watching us. Welcome to Roku, Apple TV,
Yes,
Fire
indeed.
Stick.
Yes, indeed.
What's one other I'm missing?
Twitter, Instagram.
Apple
Yeah.
TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apple
Yeah.
TV.
All right.
So welcome to all you guys, because you guys are looking at us live.
Yes.
But we also got to say welcome to our all long-time viewing audience, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, West Memphis.
Yeah.
Back on down to Shelby County, Memphis, Tennessee, Mississippi.
Jackson.
And
yeah.
man, I always got to holler at my mom for the great state of Missouri. Hey, Mom?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Hey, wow.
Hey, so today what we want to do is we want to talk about some music law.
Okay.
Jerome. I mean, man, that's always an interesting area of a law, man. I guess they call it entertainment law.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple part of it, man, and you and I know this,
Yeah.
it ain't nothing but just a contract.
There it is.
That's right.
Just write up something, get something written up, and
There
then make sure it's what you want.
There it is. And I always have the beginning, in the middle,
Yep.
and the ending.
Yeah.
There it is. Just 3 parts.
Yeah, and but the music industry, and and that's why we got George. I mean, they there's a little more intricacy there.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, because obviously there's you have the artist,
Yes.
which an artist contract may be totally different than say a manager contract, or say a producer contract, or say a writer contract.
Gotcha.
But I mean, if you're a writer, you probably want to have a different contract. If you are, or if you're if you're the guy that's managing people, you got to have a whole totally different contract.
Yes, exactly.
So George, talk to us about these. You've been around in the business, man. Tell us about yourself, man.
Well, I have been around the business. I've actually had my group, man, for 50 some odd years. And I started looking into the legal thing back when I was young, really, just to kind of see what was going on. Because I had some people come to me and just say, "Hey, I'm record your song, man." I mean, just literally, I'm gonna record
Just like
your song.
that.
Yeah. So I just said, "Okay, go ahead. Shoot your best shot." Like that. But in the end, they had to come back to me because I had my paperwork.
Yeah.
In order, So they had to come back to me, and that's why I'm happy that I got my publishing a long time ago in position where I can protect myself. Then you have to have a different contract for a writer if he's writing for the company, a different contract managing if they're managing for the group, and a different contract for the group at whole.
Yeah.
And in this case, I only go for the group. I kind of do my own thing when it comes to the writing part.
Oh yeah, because I mean, obviously, well, Lionel Richie probably knows this better. I mean, if I'm writing all the songs, I mean, I'm not trying to figure out what I'm sharing with you, and I'm doing all the writing.
Right.
So I mean, I'm doing all the thinking.
Right.
Exactly right. Exactly
But
right.
Jerome, back in the day, everybody couldn't afford lawyers.
That's for sure.
And so the way that the law worked it out is that you could copyright or you could trademark anything you wanted to, you just did what they call a poor man's trademark or poor man's copyright. You remember that?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah, you know, so basically, you know, you just write up whatever you think you are, whatever you think you have, and you know, you mail it to yourself, and then when it comes back to you delivered, you know, you never open that
Never open that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
That's
You know,
right.
Now, since you mentioned that, would that still work today?
I think it will. What you think?
I absolutely believe it will.
Yeah, you know, there's a lawsuit now
Get you back.
where Taylor Swift is being sued for the song that she wrote, the real recent song that she wrote, and another group actually said that they wrote that song and that the hook is theirs,
Okay.
and she stole the hook.
Okay.
And of course, you know, what happened is, you know, they had the proof of what their hook was.
Okay.
And their hook is some really slight differences, but you can kind of, when you listen to it, you go, you know, because when I heard the Pharrell song, when Marvin Gaye's family sued Pharrell and Thick over their song, I didn't really hear the similaries. You remember that?
No, I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't really hear the similarities.
Really? But they were successful though.
They were successful, and then they end up settling. You know, because these people make so much money. You know, Taylor Swift probably made $1 gazillion off of that.
Right.
So if I got to pay you, you know, $3, $4, $5 million, why do I really care?
Right.
Right.
You
Exactly
know,
right. Exactly right.
So, yeah, George, I think that really still does work. I think that, you know, I mean, you got to make sure that now you're not getting that, and we'll talk about that later on. You're not getting that ASCAP or that BMI or that other type scenario because you haven't registered for those things.
Right, exactly.
But you're protecting yourself so nobody's going to be stealing your materials.
That's right. But you can also register it to BMI or ASCAP, whatever the case be, after you've done that.
What is BMI?
BMI actually is a performance right organization.
Okay.
So what they do is follow every time anybody plays your music. You know, a charting station, they have to chart that and send that information to BMI so that they can pay their writers.
Okay.
So that's how that works. So every time they play my song at a charting station, they chart it and they send it off, and every 3 months is when those performance right organization pays everybody every 3 months.
And now ASCAP is just another organization, just like
Does
BMI.
the same thing, but different name.
Yeah. Normally
three
people
of
not.
them. Yeah.
Normally people not. I guess they're not part of both of them. Normally one or the other.
You can't be.
Oh, you can.
You can't be only with one.
I've always thought that. I thought you couldn't join other ones. You just have to pick one or the other.
One or the other.
Okay.
Now you can write for somebody that may be on another one, but as far as your publishing, if you write it, it still will go to whoever you're with. In this case, it would be BMI.
You think being okay? So let's walk through this a little slower for people.
Okay.
Because and Jerome, everybody wants to be a musician.
Yes.
Everybody, every black person I know can sing.
Yeah.
And every one of them can write a song.
Right.
And they all believe that they're going to be the next whomever.
Always.
The biggest, best.
Yeah. And we never know why some people make it and some people
That's
don't.
true.
That's true.
But the real concern on all of that is, how do you get started? What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting because everybody now just about has a studio in their home.
That's
because,
true.
You can bring it to the house. And so I think that, as you said, it just requires hard work, it requires preparation, and it requires just getting out there and see where you land.
It's funny you say that everybody got a studio in your home. My son comes downstairs one day, right? And he says, Dad, I want you to listen to something. So I'm listening to him. And these are some really serious beats.
Yeah,
they sound good as a mug. I'm going like, dog, where they come from?
Yeah, right.
Where's this?
Right.
And I'm like, I know you ain't playing no instruments. Where does this come from? But that goes to your point.
Yeah.
He's done figured out how to synthesize, how to put music together some way, just because I can hear it and I can understand it.
That's exactly
so like you said, everybody's got a studio in their home.
That's exactly right.
You know, so. But when we started that drum, George, the first part of that is conceptual. You got to conceptualize what it is. So when you started out in the music industry, did you just say, did you just start singing, or did you think this thing through?
Well,
does that make sense?
It does, but I'm also gifted.
Okay.
But I'm saying that not to be funny, but I'm saying that because I had some brothers, man, that really couldn't sing. They were much older than the last five of us.
Okay. Because how many of your brothers was in the group?
Well, actually, there was just 3 in the group with that I had, and when I started with the group,
okay,
it was just 3. But the other ones, they just wasn't singing no more. Either they gone to the army but they gone, right? But anyway, they had a group. Not all the brothers, but they were with other people. They had a group. So I was like 6 or 7 years old at the church where they were singing, And what I was hearing, I'm a 7-year-old. It was just bothering my ears.
You said, I don't know what that is, but it don't sound good.
Exactly.
If that's harmony, I don't want no part of it.
I'm telling you now. And I went up and told my brothers, man, y'all don't sound like that, And my brother, get away from here. But we found out later, So we start, 3 of us, listening to anybody that sang and mark them to see if we could perfect whatever they was doing, like they was doing, whether it was high, humming, whatever they was doing. And we found out that we could. So after that, man, I just started writing. I just take a title, and then I take this title, I go to the word, and I put this with this title and make it make sense, and go forward, but like that. Then on the job one time, after I started working, got out of school, run into some difficulties and troubles, man, it was a song that really helped me go through, and the song was whatever you need, you can find the word of God. So I started putting all that together. All I had to do was read, and back to your son to get a beat. See, I gave myself a beat, right?
Yeah, you did. There you go.
What I'm saying?
Right.
With a beat, just with a beat. I started singing whatever, like that. You need, like that. You can find it, and that helped me with what I was going through at the same time. So then I'm saying, man, this song helped me through, maybe to do it for other people. So I just kept writing, and then God starts pouring stuff in my ear, man. It's just funny how things work. Like I was at a church, and the preacher was preaching. His title was "When the Rooster Crows," right? I could not get that out of my head. When the rooster crows, and I was saying, Lord, I can't do nothing with that rooster crow. Then I thought about, when Peter denied the Lord, and the clock struck 3,
right.
He said, "You're gonna deny me," but that's the only time I can find it in the Bible.
Right.
So I had to put something else with it, Like for instance, you driving down the highway and somebody in front of you and they too slow and they holler out, "Will you move?" Like that. Then that's when the rooster or the crow to let you know you wrong. That kind of thing. So I started using my imagination, but then I started playing guitar too, which then I could make my own music and write, which made it much easier for me. And then my brother started playing bass, so it started working a little bit, and it got bigger and better, So hey, then folks started acting like they liked what we was doing, so we started doing it more. Yeah, at the church they used to call us the Dean Brothers, So hey, it went from that on. But man, I've been doing this for 50-something years and worked a job for 38 years. But it was God found favor because I could go sing whenever. I got ready, but whatever He asked me to do, I'd do it. Case closed. But all through that, man. So I figured this is what I was supposed to do. So I followed up, and that's how it is.
But think about it. I guess what I'm looking at, I'm concerned about is how many songs and how many beats that you lost because you didn't put your plan in place when you first started out. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes perfect
it makes
sense.
good sense.
Perfect.
But when I first started, I didn't know the plan.
Right.
No, seriously. But I learned the plan.
Okay.
And then I started putting it in perspective. So now, after a while, when first record company we deal with, there was nothing out of it. I'm saying, this stuff ain't that right. And I really started reading and studying then. After that, I wasn't going to have that no more. I was going to make sure that I protect myself, So my music, man, has gone all over the world. But everybody's just not going to be millionaires in this, But when you look at it, I don't have to worry about going to sing if I don't want to. I can stay at home because my job keeps me there.
Well, but and it's funny you say that. I mean, what I have also learned, because there was a time that I did more representation of musicians than I care to remember.
Okay.
But that's the next level that they normally don't want to do, is to work or to do something else, because this right here may not sustain you.
Exactly.
So you got to do something that's steady.
That's exactly right.
I always tell people, I do this work in my office and that pays my bills, but I do this right here, and that right here is my gravy.
Right.
So the steady job takes care of your bills.
Exactly.
And that's your gravy.
Exactly right. That's
but a lot of musicians don't think that way.
No, and it probably has hurt them in the long run too. But it is what it is, because you just don't know how that's going to plan out. Anyway, you can be successful today and nothing tomorrow. But I wasn't finna have that. No.
Well, and then the other thing is, like you said, preparing for that. Planning for that rainy day fun.
Exactly.
So so when you finish writing a song, what do you do? When you finish writing it, do you do something at that point to preserve that song, or to make sure that nobody else tries to use that material?
Well, I've been successful in the point that I've always been with a record company, So
which I've never been that big of a fan of
a record company.
The record companies.
We're gonna get to that a little.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it, but I've not been a big fan of it. But we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell the audience why what my disdain is, not disdain, but disdain.
but I said that to say, and they would make sure that the music get to wherever. They would give me the rights as far as the publishing, etc. So at first they didn't want to, but I got it anyway. So that way, my song would be out and people would hear it. They know it's us and that kind of thing. So, but now I'm doing my own registration and sending my own thing to BMI and etc. Because if I go with a company again, then I'm gonna ask for what I want.
We had the guy that was the quartet.
Cedric King.
Cedric King.
Yeah. Cedric
We had King on, and one of the things he said, because he does these venues, event venues. But one of the things he said that kind of struck a chord in me is whether or not, because everybody loves this music, everybody loves gospel, everybody loves quartet music,
right?
But whether or not he could actually, put together a successful venue that would be financially conducive and big. Because the tickets have to be at a certain rate,
level,
exactly.
But a venue costs another rate,
exactly.
And trying to marry those two together, he thought that. Because I actually asked him, what was the largest venue that he's done? I think it was 2,000 or something at that time.
I watched that show from the house.
Oh, you wasn't here with me?
I wasn't here. It was you and Misty.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you were here with me.
Misty.
Man, you used to with me all so much, man.
No, you and Misty. I watched that.
You were
from
sick.
The house. Yes.
Yeah, he's right. You were sick.
Yeah, I watched it.
But he said that it was 2,000 or so that he could do as far as a venue, and that kind of weirded me out, because I was like, people love this music, just like your music. People love it. Why can't you fill up a bigger venue? I mean, what is it about it that can't get you a bigger venue? I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes good sense. I don't directly know the answer to that, but it's a lot of quartets out here, and there's some that just pulls more people than others. and then sometime the price of them with what you want will cause you not to want to do it. Sometime that kind of thing. So it's try and error. I've traveled with A. Lee Williams, right? And I've been to venues where it couldn't even hold the people.
Oh, really?
Oh man, yeah. It's some 5,000 place sittings, 10,000 place sittings, stuff like that, where it just be packed out, But it was because basically of Lee Williams.
Ah, okay.
Not necessarily the one that with him.
But he, and see, that's the other problem with the music industry. Everybody, a lot of people feed, but everybody is not eating.
Yeah.
Because he's the big draw.
Right.
So it's him that gets the lion's share.
Yeah.
And then everybody else has to take, whatever is potentially left off.
Yes.
And that could be good or that could be bad. It just depends on the scenario.
Sometimes it could be bad. It helped me because I was a friend of Lee Williams, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be, but mine has been pretty steady because I try to stay in my level, As things increase in the music, as far as when it hits and etc., depending on what it does, then I can do some different things. But I just try to be where I can maintain, take care of my business, take care of the pay, take care of my guys, and still put something back for Gospel Folk. See, it's three of us. It's me, my brother, and Gospel Folk. Because you got to be able to take care of other business. But nowadays it's just totally different, man. Younger groups are coming up, and we're dying out because of our age, but it's just different, Plus, what's happening in the world is different too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you ain't buying vinyl no more.
No, sir.
And you
but
ain't buying, the 8 tracks and CDs.
Right.
So your stuff is all gonna be digital.
Exactly. Now,
digital sales. Or if it ain't even digital, it's gonna be bootleg.
Well, yeah. But,
if somebody really wants your stuff, they gonna bootleg it and put it on YouTube, and everybody gonna listen to it.
Exactly right.
That's a different, area of concern. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
That's a whole other level of concern.
Exactly right.
But so how do you manage? Because so you got a group. Okay, so that means that you got to feed you and everybody in the group. You got to provide, events that you're gonna go do. You got to provide, places to rehearsal. So how do you determine how you're gonna assess what your group is gonna perform for?
Well,
is there a price, or is there a minimum price, or does it? Some people say, whatever God puts in your heart, and I've heard that, and I've seen some starving people that said that.
Yeah, right.
Because I love my black folk, man, but when you say whatever you put in my heart, they be like, my heart ain't feeling it now. I'm enjoying it, but I ain't feeling it today. So, but how do you do that?
Well, I've got musicians that I've had 20 years or so, and they're still with me because I had a couple die and I replaced them. But I always figure out what their cost going to be per show. I also figure out fuel and all that. Figure all that out and add it up. Then it's 3 left. It's me and my brother and Gospel Folk. So I got to make sure. Now these 3 need to keep more than the rest. They got to be paid more in order to maintain their total business. So I look at that and then I scale a price,
Okay.
And I go from there. Now the price ain't always the same, because the further I go, the more I need, that kind of thing. And I do some things in Memphis and I try to keep it at a certain price, And so far, it has worked for me. I'm blessed that people still call us, for venues. So.
I was going to ask you, because, now, we want to talk about some other stuff, but I was going to ask you because when, a lot of times, and that's what I was telling, I keep wanting to say we were telling.
Yeah,
but when
that's
we
okay.
was talking,
I was there with you.
You was there. You was looking.
Yeah.
When I was talking to, I think Cedric King, and one of the things that I was telling him, when you rent a big venue, a lot of things that the venues want is, you bringing in artists. So somebody is the promoter of the entire event.
Exactly.
And that person is going to pay for the venue and pay for all the artists that come in. And then now they make their money off of the sale of the door. When you do events for different venues, do you require them to give you some money based off of whatever the sales are, or you just set a flat fee?
I usually set a flat fee because I pretty much know what I need to make sure we're okay, And of course, they have to give me hotel rooms and different stuff like that, and they have to send me so much in front before I leave to go. But I don't do that. I don't do venues on myself. We just sing in the venue where people call us to do it.
Okay, so you just perform.
I just perform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing it up to 3 or 4 years ago. We always had a set date to do a venue, which worked out for us as well. But we would rent a place and pay for that, and the groups and take care of them too. Then you got to make your money back and hopefully you make something plus, you know what I'm saying?
Woo!
But you never know.
Man, you got, I don't know, God and gambling don't go together.
I know. But I don't want to just I want my music to speak, for me, and my songs as well, because people need songs from everywhere, so that put me in a little demand, I hope.
That's great, man.
Yeah. So it helps me.
And also, what you demonstrated then was that your confidence in your ability and your music.
Yeah.
And so, what they were trying to do was compare you in a category that you were above the category. Apparently, that's why you were able to shut him down.
Well, exactly right.
And move to what you needed to talk about.
And a lot of groups don't know it's not just the publishing, but part of the sales they're supposed to get as well. But a lot of them don't know that,
And when people don't realize, and I know we got to go, Miss Debbie gave us the warning count.
Okay.
I know we got to go, but what people don't realize is when you sign those contracts, and that initial contract is, because most of the time you're going to be on a 3 to 5 album plan,
or albums. Yeah.
So they want 3 to 5 albums, and they want 3 to 5 albums based off of what they consider to be good songs. So they pick and choose what songs they're going to publish.
Exactly.
So that's kind of how that is. But you start off at that entry level of $100,000, $200,000, and then, but what happens is, you got to sell a certain amount of records because you got to pay before you start making royalties, you got to pay them back.
Yeah, exactly.
So that 200 is where they start. You're wearing clothes, they pay for your clothes. You're going to getting travel, they paying for all these things, and so all of that comes off of your royalty.
Exactly.
So you may be, $200,000-$300,000. Well, you are $200,000 in a hole before you start.
Before you start, yeah.
So this is why you end up with a lot of artists that you see that they're broke or they're in bankruptcy or stuff like that, because they're on a 20 cent per on a dollar deal, and they're $200,000 in a hole before they start, and that $200,000 included managing, production, studio time, all this other stuff. So you ain't got no living.
You got to pay for your music.
And then you got to pay for the music.
Yeah.
So man, we got to get you back, man, because we ain't finished. Because we got a whole lot of stuff that
Whenever y'all say, man, look, it's a blessing, man, for me to be here with y'all for real.
Man, I'm glad you could come in and talk to us, man. Like I said, anytime we got a lot of young artists out there that are looking for stuff.
This is one reason that I wanted to really come and talk, because they need to know, man, and there's a lot of them that can really, really sing,
Tell them how to meet you.
Tell me.
Most people know I'm George Dean, of course. You can reach me at 901-596-4763, and sometime I'm around SVP TV.
You got a Facebook or a Facebook site or a YouTube site?
I have Facebook. I have YouTube. I have also an email address, gdean333@att.net. So there's a lot of places you can reach me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
We'll be back.
Hey, look, thank you for watching the show. Appreciate for having my special guest, George
Bless
Dean.
you, sir. Bless
my
you.
man is always my man.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank y'all. We'll see you back next week. Look at my little Christmas things behind me.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Tune in to Talking Law with attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku,